The best companies, the debate is robust, but people figure it out, and they give each other a chance. In too many franchise systems, it creates great tension. And we had a source of tension in edible arrangements. I see this in a lot of brands. I know it comes up for you, and that is on discounting and value pricing. There's different philosophies of this. You know, the one side is, well, if we offer discounts, it's going to bring in new customers, and it's going to bring old customers back. And all the data shows that that's absolutely true. Value pricing and discounting brings in more traffic. But there's a flip side of this, which I appreciate as a franchisee who has to hire the employees, who has to prepare the meals, that sort of thing. And that is, well, it's cutting into my margins. I'm discounting, but I'm not making any money. Why should I do it? Especially if people are only going to come in for that one time to get the discount, and they're never going to come back. I'm not doing this to work. I'm doing this to make money. So there's the tension that's there. So it brings us to this really big question of discounting. Does discounting create long-term customers? So let me answer this. No. Discounting does not create long-term customers. You create long-term customers. Jay is very happy that I just made that distinction because he was having a conniption backstage, I'm sure. What I mean by this is this. Discounting, I think, is critical when customer count is down, and I went through this, to bring people back. But what's happening when you discount, you bring all these new customers in, is that you're basically asking them to audition you, to give you a chance. But that's just the first part of it. What matters then is what is the experience they get once they come in. See, Bob looks at discounting. He doesn't change the experience. He just gives people the same experience. He's just turning tables, providing a meal, making sure no one's upset at a lower price. And then he says, well, did sales increase? And they sustain. Anna has a very different perspective. She prepares her staff and she prepares herself saying, we're about to get a burst, an influx of customers. We need to blow their minds with great food, pointing out things in the menu that they may not be aware of and give them a great experience. We can't just give them food. We got to give them a smile. We have to give them something that's going to make an impression, something beyond what they're expecting, because that's what brings customers back. So getting them in the first place isn't enough. And so I don't think we can judge any part of our business, discounting or a new menu item, anything, unless we're really doing it right and completely. You could give me the world's greatest hammer, but if I pick it up with my index finger and thumb and I try to hammer like this and the nail doesn't go in, does it make sense to say it's a lousy hammer? The tool only works if I give it my best and use it properly. The same is true with every area of your system. And that's the thing about discounting. And now here's the thing, you have to understand, sometimes sales are about profit, but other times, especially when customer count is down, sales are about marketing, that it's about long-term sales. And this is my experience at Edible. You know, a lot of my fellow franchisees said, we're a holiday business. Yeah, we're open all year, but it's really about those 9 or 10 big holidays. That's where the money is made. I had a very different philosophy. For me, those holidays were about marketing. I was less about wanting to make a ton of money those holidays. I wanted to make a ton of impression because we were so busy on like Mother's Day and Valentine's Day that we had exposure to the most amount of senders, the most amount of recipients, and all the people who saw our delivery drivers making these deliveries. I said this is an opportunity for us to make a huge impression for the rest of the year. So what happened with my business is during Mother's Day and Valentine's Day, normally we'd rank in the top 5, often we were number 1. We'd often slide down to like 20 or 25 out of 110 stores in California just for those holidays. Okay, everyone else had an influx, but we were at the top for all the rest of the year. So I was willing to make a little less money, to spend more on labor, to spend what I had to make sure we were giving people incredible experiences. And that's the part that's missing for Bob. He doesn't understand that that is part of the recipe for success. So it's critical that be willing to really stick to the system and to embrace changes and to embrace marketing campaigns, but the only way to test them is to make sure that people are getting the true experience that goes along with the discount. So if you really want to measure if discounting value pricing works, it's not enough to look at sales. During that same time period, look at customer satisfaction. What kind of impression are you making? Whether you're doing surveys, informal conversations, or your net promoter score, the only way to know if discounting works is if while you're discounting, you're providing the ultimate guest experience, that joy from the griddle, give them something that they're going to remember. So it's critically important in our recipe of success.